Um, all right, recording in progress.
Got it.
How are you doing? Thanks for your patience.
I'm good. Yes, it's nice to see you too. I like your backdrop. It's very pretty.
It's a real room. It's my son's room.
I know it is. You can tell when it isn't because there's that weird aura.
Yeah. Anyway, you and I are both here on unceded Algonquin territory, not far from the Mississippi River. We are talking about SPARC Performing Arts, and we are talking about something you've been working on for SPARC for quite a while now. Just so you know, gang, because you'll be seeing this later, Ani is an internationally renowned logo designer. You can see some of her logos in the background, spiffy things she's done. And after an extensive search process, we chose Ani to work on SPARC's new logo. So we're going to be looking at it in a minute. But first, we want to ask her some questions about how she came about it. So Ani, can you tell us how you got, got the creative brief out of our little heads and into your hands so that you could put something together for us?
Sure. Did you want me to tell you a little bit about me first?
Absolutely.
So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Ani Milne, and I ran a graphic design studio called Sumac Loft in Clayton, near Sandy. And I have been here for 12 years. Before that, I was in Toronto for many years, working for lots of different companies, getting all my graphic design knowledge ready for my move to Lanark County. And I had grown up in rural Quebec, so coming here really was like moving home. And I found my forever home, so to speak. And so when I started Sumac Loft, I found myself really gravitating towards logo design because it's just this really unique process where you learn a whole bunch of things about your client's business and who they are and what they do and how they want to be perceived out there in the world. And then you try and take all of that and distill it all down into this perfect little thing that when people see it, they automatically have an understanding of that organization or company, sort of pre-existing in their head when they first reach out. So with SPARC, I went about this in my usual way, which was to provide a series of questions to the group, all about their background and how they feel that they want to be perceived out in the world, who their audience is, any kind of qualities that those audiences might have. I ask for what arguably the most important thing that I ask for is for the organization to provide some keywords that describe their organization. And so, for example, with SPARC, some of these words were network, connection, animate, countryside, sparkle, sparks, flame, lights, performing art, of course, theater, dance, performance, show, and a bunch of other ones, including delightful, fun, enticing, and diversity. And so I read these things really, really carefully, and I keep them right beside me when I'm dreaming up ideas. And so I sat down and I jotted on a piece of paper the keywords that I felt sort of stood out for me. And so I wrote down rural, network, connection, animate, sparkle, light, flame, theater, stage, live, perform, artistic, friendly, fun. And then I wrote down barn owl. And then I drew a picture of a barn owl. And I looked at it and I thought, well, I'm done. And so here is, here's the sketch. And so then I thought, well, that's not really very professional. I should really spend some more time dreaming up ideas and not just show them one concept. So I went back to work and I diligently created a whole bunch of more concepts to review, among which was a fun rooster, a barn that kind of had some sparks coming out of it, There were a bunch of them with barns because the SPARC logo already had a barn. And once I was all said and done, and I had about 15 ideas that I had sketched out, and I had, ticked off a few of them as being strong contenders, I realized, I went back to the beginning and I thought, that barn owl is the one. Sometimes you just know. And so I carefully put it together. It was a labor of love. I lovingly crafted this beautiful barn owl by, what I often do is I'll take, and that's not unique to me, a lot of good logo designers will do this. They'll take some shapes and they'll repeat them within the form so that there is a pleasing harmony to the design. Mm-hmm. And so with this one, that is what I did, and just kept working it until I really felt that harmony and that balance and a power, and I kept looking back at that creative brief and reading it back to myself and working the logo until I really felt that it captured all of the above. And then again with typography, it's really important to pick the right font. So again, you keep going back to the creative brief and ensuring that you're on track with their desired brand character. And once I had that all put together, then I put it in a document to show Sandy and the rest of the team with a very carefully written creative rationale, which is it's kind of, it always makes me laugh because it feels like the logo design should be 90% of the job, and that little creative rationale should be 10%. But that creative rationale is so important because you need to persuade your client of your belief that this is exactly right for them. And so it's very important to really sit down and again, I'm a broken record, but go back to that brief over and over and over again and make sure that it's all covered in that creative rationale. And every once in a blue moon, when you're doing that, you realize that you have to go back to the logo again and make some tweaks because you realize that there's just this one little thing that needs to be adjusted. But in this case, it was love at first sight. I knew it was right. I spent lots of time putting that rationale together and showed it to the team. And it was one of those beautiful moments because everybody just went, wow, you nailed it. So
you really did. You really did.
Before we move on?
No, I think we need to move on to showing what we're talking about, and then maybe we can describe some of the characteristics that people may not know to look for. So I'm going to prep something, and then I'm going to hit share screen. Just a second, but we're so excited to have this. Just want to make sure it's, there we go. All right, so 1, 2, 3, drum roll, please. Ta-da!
Beautiful.
Can you see it all right?
It needs to be bumped up a tiny bit.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Ani's vision for SPARC. And now I've made it too big. There we are. You can see it's a rising barn owl with diamond-shaped sparks coming out from her. And I wonder if you could talk about one of the hidden typographic elements that's hiding in this logo, Ani. You mentioned that there's an S hiding in here, and I can see it just to the left of the owl, correct?
Yeah, it's sort of in, I lost the image here, sorry, one moment. It's in the wing between the left wing and the body of the owl.
Yeah.
but the whole thing kind of has the feeling of an S. And so that's more sort of, you know, an intuitive kind of connotation. I was going to try and open up I did also supply to the group a brand book, which sort of shows you all the great ways that the logo can be used. And so the sparks, you know, flying up from the owl's wings, the sparks are the colors of the rainbow to represent diversity. I also had the idea that these were markers on a map showing that the members of SPARC are kind of spread across rural Ontario. Again, these are just intuitive connotations. They're not supposed to be obvious. A good logo will speak to your intuition and your gut more than it will speak, you know, directly to your, well, you know, this bald kind of obvious meaning. You want to have something that's nuanced and you know, subtle as well as bold. And the stance of the owl feels like a very theatrical, dynamic, fun, you know, posture that the owl is joyful and full of life. And then of course there's the face of the owl is a little heart.
That's right.
Which they actually have, so that was easy.
No, it's wonderfully performative in its elements, but it all comes together so nicely. And this new logo will be carried across our website and our social media platforms and all the print material, of course. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing it in is a great big banner next year at a symposium. We'll have something big enough. Yeah, the owl really spread her wings.
And there's elements of this logo that can be used in a fun way. You can separate them out from the logo, such as the shape of the wings can be used just sort of to drop half off a page in a subtle gray or whatever, what have you, to give you know, a simple document a little bit of punch. And the sparks can be also used that way. And of course, there's a wonderful color palette there that's just amazing possibilities.
It's ready to play with, and we'll be using that for graphic icons on our website too, because we're in the process of a redesign. So you've really given us a good platform to relaunch our image, because we used to be SPARC Performing Arts, and now we are Réseau SPARC Network, still with the performing arts inside us, but we've become a bilingual organization, and we're really aiming to represent across the province. And I think this really carries that in its heart. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Do you have the full logo that you can show?
Let me just pull it up. Oh, no, hang on. Let me turn off screen sharing and find the right file. Okay. Stop share. There we are. There's your beautiful face. Okay. And there's the full logo. Okay. Back to Zoom. Like that. All right. So this is going to be, I'm going to share again. And this is the full logo with the word mark. And you can really see it spread across the page. And I'm just going to bring that up in a bigger zoom.
Yeah, and so with this version, you can see how the typography nestles right into the shapes of the owl to provide like a nice balance to the whole. The owl looks great on its own, but it works really nicely with the text as well.
I like the way you chose colors that tie into our old logo and feel. The red is very close to our original red, and that kind of gives us some continuity carrying forward, but it's still distinct on its own. And one of my friends, when she saw the logo, said, she loved it, but she also said, there's nothing else like it out there. And I really like that.
And that is, there's a few sort of key things when you're designing a logo. There's some design. It's not just a pretty picture. Obviously, there's some science to it, and there's the 6 sort of key principles that we talk about. Is that it be, one of the top one is that it be unique, and that it be a little bit timeless. Logos should be somewhat simple. They should be memorable for obvious reasons. They should be suitable. So in other words, they should be appropriate for the organization or the company, and that they should be versatile, so that that you can use them in a lot of different ways. So I think we've kind of hit the mark with this one.
I don't think we have. Well, I'm so grateful to you for your time, Ani. Did I miss asking you anything about this? I'm trying to think. We talked about how the owl is, we didn't talk about how the owl can fly right across the province and has a range right across the province.
So just
that's one of the tie-ins.
Yes, that's right. The markers and the fact that it can represent everybody sort of moving, from one location to another, for sure.
I think the owl in a lot of cultures is a symbol of wisdom, sometimes of listening. We even checked with some of our Indigenous staffers whether it was okay to use this owl, and it was. So this, in some cultures, the Irish in particular, they're afraid of owls, but I think overall, the owl is generally seen as a good listener. I'm hoping we bring that to the table, as well as being good communicators, or good listeners.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Well, I can't thank you enough for this, Ani. It's
you're so welcome.
It's delightful, and I'm really hoping it'll carry forward as an exciting symbol for all of us.
Well, if you need any help, you know where I live.
I do. Thank you so much. I think we've covered it. What do you think?
I think we've covered it all.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time tonight, Ani. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks and good night.
See you in the hood.
See you in the hood. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.